This is the amazing Ben Wendel playing one of his own compositions. In the beginning of this clip, Pat Metheny actually sounds like something that's called a warm-up, but later it really becomes music. Once I attended a Chris Potter masterclass. He packed out his saxophone and said, "I'm pretty jet lagged and this is the first time I play today," and he just sounded amazing. So I'm not sure what to call this. A warm-up, play music, or just the first thing you practice in a day? Let me know in the comments what you think to call it, or do you do a warm-up and what do you do? For me there's nothing like a warm-up, it's basically just play. But of course there's a difference between practicing and playing a concert. A concert we pretty much know, you perform. But when you practice there are different subcategories in what you want to achieve or what your focus is. So when we're practicing we can divide this into different categories. But essentially all the things we practice should have all categories in it. I want to present to you a couple of ideas on how you can do the first practice of the day. So basically a quiet, easy practice. And the first thing I want to begin with is the warm-up of Pat Metheny. Beginning he's just playing some chords up and down. What he's playing could actually be a tune like All the Things You Are. So I wrote down this quite similar exercise on All the Things You Are. Just the arpeggios to the 9 and down again. Already when I'm taking a piece of music there's a definite purpose with this, because you put what you practice directly into your music, and the purpose is learning the chords, learning the sound of the chords, learning the sound of the progression, and this you just integrate directly into your practice. It doesn't only become an arpeggio or scale exercise, but you actually have a tune which have a melody and a chord progression. And I think this is very important also when we just have a 5-minute warm-up. Just before I talked about different focus when you are practicing. So when you practice or when you warm up or when you do anything with your instrument, what's the purpose? Why do you do it? So when I play my chords like this, I sound very much like a technical exercise. So I definitely have to put more focus in playing them like music. I need to focus on the tone, I need to focus on the fingers, and I need to focus on the general progression of the chords. How do they sound together? So let's say we start with this technical exercise. But when we listen to Pat Metheny, he takes it a step further. Of course he does, because he's Pat Metheny. He's not only playing the arpeggios up, he starts changing it around after a minute or so. So when taking the challenge of practicing some technical, change the exercise a bit. You need to become flexible. You need to become flexible in thinking the chords, thinking the arpeggios, and thinking the structure at the same time. Try this nice double arpeggio exercise where I'm playing the arpeggio from the root and then from the third. Or move the arpeggios in 7th chords. From the 7th. And now something really nice happened, because when you practice these individual exercises and you listen to what happened in Pat Metheny's playing, you can actually start combining these, start improvising on these. And of course I've written stuff down, so I'm not improvising it. By changing up this material you get much more flexibility, and you can do this to any tune you want to practice, and you can put your focus points on everything you want to. Tone, technical exercise, the theoretical level. But when I practice I really try to get my focus point around as many subjects as I possibly can. I'm not saying that I'm doing it all at the same time. Maybe one round of this technical exercise I focus on sound, the next round I focus on technique. Is it the full tone? Do the notes actually connect that I'm playing? Do I play with full breath support? And how is the intonation? When I'm thinking technical, I think about my speed. It doesn't have to be fast, because speed is also slow. But are my fingers fast enough? Do I press them hard enough? Again, do the tones connect because of my technique? And do I hit these tones precisely? And then there's a whole lot of theory involved, and this includes ear training, hearing the tones, hearing the progression, hearing the follow-up of the next chord, that I can think this progression in my head while playing it. This is very, very important that you learn this by heart. To help you practice like this, in the lesson manual PDF on Patreon, I have made a lot of etudes on the tune All the Things You Are. You can dig into the chords and the scales of this tune by following these etudes that gives you a very great melodical sense. It gets you around the technique you need to play for this tune in a very musical way. In this way you get out of this technical exercise sound. The lesson manual PDF download link on Patreon is in the description.
Get out the horn and I kind of start playing, and I run into whatever that limitation is and try and figure out a way to solve it.
Chris Potter is saying that his practice is playing music, and this makes totally sense. When he's making a mistake, if he makes a mistake, or messes up something he hears or doesn't play what he hears, he stops and focus on that and practice that little part. You can do this with any exercise you take. Just take a small part of the exercise and start flipping this around, start turning it around. Here I'm playing it from the beginning, and then I'm turning around playing it backwards. And maybe when you're playing this exercise, it takes away your focus from your sound. You can only focus on the technique. So change the exercise, make something else, make a new exercise. Play it slow. Just try to play the guide tone lines of All the Things You Are. This is basically the melody. Of all the chords. Focus on the sound and focus on how you want the sound to come out. And here Ben Wendel comes into play. These etudes or these solo tunes he's playing sounds amazing, and you can hear that he really focused a lot on his sound. He really checked out these arpeggios, how he wants them to sound. So I made a little etude here on All the Things You Are. Basically the triads just up, playing the root, the fifth and the third in different octaves. And you can easily do this on all the tunes you are playing, root, fifth, third. So when you have practiced this for some time, do as with the other exercises, change it up. Exactly what we did before. We took some plain chords going up, going down, and then we started mixing them up. And suddenly you get an exercise where we focus much more on the hearing sense. You hear these chord tones, you hear the target notes, you hear the guide tone line through the chords. But still I'm playing these beautiful arpeggios up. When you play it slow, you get much more time to listen to the sound. And the technical aspects in it, you have to play these low notes and get up in the high. And this means you need to focus on your airstream and the sound of your horn. I love this exercise for getting my sound better, but still I'm training the sound of the progression. I'm still training the chords of the tune. So whatever you play, any exercise you play must lead to playing music. And also when we're listening to Pat Metheny's beginning of his warm-up, and we listen to the end a little bit later of his warm-up, it's really becoming music. He plays music when he practices. So whether you call it warm-up, the first practice of the day, or just practice, it all has to have the purpose of being music. In the lesson manual PDF on Patreon, I have added all these scale and all these chord exercises, etudes played over All the Things You Are. And the different sections of the etudes have different focus points. One is sound where I'm playing slow, one is technique where I'm playing lots of tones or huge arpeggios. Another one is focus on the basic progression, just learn the basic chords. In this way you get this musical way to play your standards. Try the etudes, download them on Patreon in the lesson manual PDF, the link is right here. When you get Joel Fram and Chris Potter together in a video, you are prone to get amazing stuff. This video is about both their most essential practice approach. Play music, have fun.